Hello, B1 family, and welcome back to the YouTube channel, The Big Black American Secret. My name is Daniel Jackson. Today I want to get into a topic that I'm completely, it's new to me. I was watching a video. There's a group of people who has a YouTube channel. It's fairly new, but it's called the American Indian Defense League. Now, that title caught my attention. So I said, let me see what that's all about. So when I started watching the video, and I started to hear a lot of dog whistles, you know, and dog whistles are kind of like code words, and I'll get into that a little bit when I do play the video. And I also want to invoke fair use. The video that I'm gonna show is for educational purposes only, so I'm leaning on fair use. Don't want any copyright strikes or anything like that. But anyway, what I'm finna show you is alarming, because it is trying to paint Aboriginal Americans in a bad light. But again, I don't want to. I want to get into the video, and I'm going to explain while the video's going. So we're going to probably watch about maybe 30, maybe 20 minutes of the video. 30, maybe 30 minutes of the video. But again, I want to highlight this and put a spotlight on it, because these things we have to nip in the bud. You understand what I'm saying? But before I get into that, I want to read the goal of this channel, you know, so that, well, let me back up. The name of this YouTube channel is called The Big Black American Secret. And the reason there is a secret, and the secret is you are an Aboriginal American. I'm sorry about that. But the reason you don't know your identity is because of the system of racism, white supremacy. So the goal of this channel has two goals. One is to teach you or to spark your interest into learning about your Aboriginal American identity, and two, to not only destroy the system of racism, white supremacy, but to replace it with a system of freedom, justice, and equality. Now I'm gonna read the goal, and then I'm gonna get into it, okay? The goal of this channel is to build an unstoppable army of knowledgeable black melanated people in America and around the world that understand we as melanated people have one enemy worldwide, and that enemy is the system of racism, white supremacy. Our mission through education is to replace this evil system with a system of freedom, justice, and equality, as laid out by Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. We will need your help in building this knowledgeable army. You can help by subscribing to this channel, by donating to this cause through Cash App or PayPal, and by sharing the videos you watch here and any knowledge that is shared. In doing so, together we help fertilize the mentally enslaved, colonized minds of black melanated people worldwide, creating the perfect mental conditions for our children to grow up in a better, more balanced world. And Dr. Frances Cress Welsing's video will be in the description. My email is in the description. Cash App and even PayPal is in the description. Hit the share button. When you hit share, it causes the algorithm in YouTube to share it out to even more people, so we can just get this message out to people. Also, too, like, share, and then subscribe. Hit the bell and hit the all icon. Okay. So that being said, I'm going to get into it. Play this video and point out to you why it's such a bad thing. Okay. Now. Yeah, so I'm gonna turn my phone around and we're gonna get to it. So let's do this. I'll make the screen bigger first, and then I'll hit play.
Kind of a different opening here. Thank you so much again for joining the American Indian Defense League. I believe this is number 7, if I'm not mistaken. I want to thank everyone for your patience there. We had a bit of a technical jump, I guess you could say. but we're here and we're good to go. Sorry about that Indian time there. We have some people in the comments section. I want to thank you so much for being there. We are a group of indigenous people, and our job here tonight is to dismantle and deconstruct ethnocentric pseudo erasure. And what does that mean? Basically, what that means is things like, Ivan Van Sertima, they came before Columbus, any type of pseudo archaeology saying that, what we call as black people or African Americans were here prior to 1492, as well as dismantling a lot of the grift that a lot of these people have on their own community. So I want to first introduce myself here. I am a citizen of the Rosebud Sioux Nation. How mataku yapi? Yuha chante washte na becha use it below. Wambi wakiya imachi yapi lo. So good to see you. So good to be here. Absolutely. It's really good to be a part of this here. So my panelists come from different parts of the Western Hemisphere, but we are united in this. And I want to thank so much Aboriginal TV for promoting our show tonight, as well as everyone else that's been involved in promotion. I want to say thank you from the bottom of our heart. And we are going to continue. We're going to keep going, telling the truth, deconstructing the grift, deconstructing these scammers, interrupting their scammers, interrupting the way that they approach and give this information to basically hoodwink their community into thinking that they are they're appropriating their people. So thank you, guests, for being here. Our panel. We're going to kind of really dig into it here. So what I want to talk about is something that was really disturbing this week, and I had an opportunity to talk to the person that this video came from, that was actually victimized by this. But I want to highlight this because this is the type of attitude that what we call wannabe Aboriginal Wabo community, or we call ethnocentric pseudo erasures and grifters. There is this is lateral violence, as we said before. This is lateral violence, this is erasure of our people when they appropriate things like the Olmec culture, the Mayan culture, every other culture. There is, by foundational science, no evidence of pre-1492 contact of African people. There was no archaeological, anthropological, botanical, linguistical, any type of that evidence. And if there was, we would amplify that, absolutely. But there literally is no evidence. So this is fantasy-based reality. So, but this gets actually pretty violent here. These threats are real and present for people who speak out against this. They threaten our.
Okay, so I just want to point out a few things there. He mentioned that lateral violence, and I'm going to Google lateral violence real quick, just so we can know what it means. Lateral violence definition. All right, lateral violence, Wikipedia. I guess we'll go to Wikipedia. Lateral violence is displaced violence directed against one's peers rather than adversaries. Okay, so I'm assuming he's saying that we as Aboriginal Americans are peers with him and his group of people who say that they are. Well, he mentioned indigenous to this continent, so he's saying that they're indigenous to this continent, and Black Aboriginal people are aboriginal to this continent. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. Black Aboriginals, you and I, we are from the dirt of this continent. Everybody else came here from someplace else. These people are Mongolian breed of Asian. So they came here from Asia. They're not from the dirt of this continent. You understand what I'm saying? Now, personally, I don't really care about that. We can all be on this continent and live in harmony. You know what I'm saying? In a perfect world. But the Mongolian breed of Asian showed early on that they don't really care for black people. Now, you might think that there's a relationship between Mongolian Indians and Aboriginal Americans, but there is not. After slavery, the Indian tribes, specifically the 5 civilized tribes, were supposed to share their land and resources with the black, supposedly black slaves that they had. And they chose not to do that. They petitioned Congress for a couple of years. And then they came up with that bullshit about the blood quantum law. You understand what I'm saying? It's just so that we wouldn't be able to share in what this government allowed them to have. So technically what I'm saying is those casinos, half that shit's supposed to be ours, according to these treaties and these agreements. You understand what I'm saying? But the Indians, being greedy and being what you might call honorary white supremacists, they're about as worse as white people. And this may be a news flash for some of y'all who think that, we all live in this rainbow coalition. Mexicans don't really care for you. Chinese damn sure don't give a fuck about you. And these Mongolian Indians, same thing. You know what I'm saying? We live in a fairy tale world. You understand what I'm saying? But it would be nice if everybody did get along. You feel what I'm saying? But anyway, lateral violence is displaced violence directed against one's peers. So when he's saying that we should be peers rather than our adversaries. And the adversary, I'm assuming, would be the Europeans, who, of course, took this land. Now, so I just want to get a definition of that so that you would have the same definition. And then he also mentioned there's no evidence before 1492 of black people being here. You understand what I'm saying? So I just want to kind of address that really quick. Now, the reason, like I mentioned earlier, about the system of racism, white supremacy, and the goal of this channel, it is because of the system of racism, white supremacy, that there is very little outward evidence. There is a ton of evidence that black people were here from the beginning of time, but that information is hidden. You understand what I'm saying? So these people have the textbook view of America because they are white supremacists. You understand what I'm saying? The white people put the Mongolian breed of Asian in the history books as the Indians, as our identity, so that the European can steal our American identity. Think about it. We are the Aboriginal Americans. We are the only true Americans. So for the Europeans to steal our identity, we cannot be Indians. Black people I'm talking about. No, the Mongolian breed of Asian in the history book is Indian. We are West African slaves. You feel what I'm saying? That's the hijack. That's how they're able to pull this off. And that's why we're stripping away all of these lies. And that's why these people are freaking out. That's the whole reason they made this video. They're panicking. They're on the run. And you'll hear in this video, he's making out, he's going to say a lot of dog whistles. And he's signaling to his white daddy for help with the niggers. They're getting out of hand. You feel what I'm saying? With the Negroes, we getting out of hand. They scared, right? So now about the evidence of black people in America before 1492, before Christopher Columbus came here, something I want to show you. And again, it's a reason for that. And I'm going to show you what that reason is right now. Okay, so I'm going to turn this around. Well, I'll make it bigger first. And then I'll turn it around.
Now, I'm going to fast forward this to a part that I was telling you earlier about the director of the Smithsonian Institute. And if I can. Okay, yeah, this is it right here.
This fella's name is Glenn Beck. He used to have a show on CBS.
This is the Smithsonian Annual Report, 1882, 1883. This is John Wesley Howell. This is an original copy. John Wesley Howell in 1789. Again, this is the I'm sorry, Powell. This is the director of the Bureau of Ethnology at the Smithsonian Institute. He said this. Artifacts found prior to Christopher Columbus's arrival would be considered illegitimate by the Smithsonian. Only the savage Indian culture would be observed, and this created the artificial barrier to science. Only the savage. Science was colluding with government because of commerce, and religion was involved. Now, why do I tell you all this stuff? Not because I'm in...
Okay.
Said that. So the director of the Smithsonian wasn't his.
So the director of the Smithsonian wasn't interested in anything, any history of people here in America before Christopher Columbus. He only wanted the story of the savage Indian. Woo! The Chinese Mongolian breed of Asian. See what I'm saying? So that is why people who go strictly by what we're taught in history books and don't do any digging for themselves think that there's no evidence of black people being here. There's plenty of evidence. Plenty of evidence. Okay? So I just wanted to bust that lie in the mouth. Okay? So let me close this out. And we'll get back to this video. Yeah.
Family, we lived through death threats as well as other things. So we want to highlight one of these death threats and one of these very ugly, toxic things. One of these people, these what we call WABOs or pseudo-Afrocentric.
And so he's saying they're getting death threats. People are toxic, and they finna highlight one of these death threats in just now. So, and again, those are dog whistles. They're trying to dehumanize us for speaking our piece, for saying, hey, this is our identity. We have proof. But throughout time, this is something that white supremacists have done. They dehumanize us so that it'll be easy to kill us. Long story short, if you dehumanize a people, you'll have no problem in killing them. Okay?
They came after one of our sisters and unfortunately really said some very toxic things. And I want to play it. I'm going to caution you. It's extremely violent. It's extremely disturbing. It is toxic, but at the same time, I think it's really important to highlight because it shows you the extreme of this supremism.
Okay, so before I finish and go further, again, I definitely do not condone violence, at all. And anybody who threatens or harms children needs to be murdered on the spot. I can't say it no different than that. If you put your hands on an innocent child, if you threaten an innocent child, you don't need to walk amongst regular folks on this planet. You understand what I'm saying? Now, this person they're going to talk about is one individual who no one in the Aboriginal community knows. Apparently they know him, but that's one individual. And who knows about his state of mind? Sound like he's crazy. But they're trying to put it out there like they're going to say them, these people. You understand what I'm saying? Trying to put that on all of us. I hardly even think about these people. I promise you. Until I came across this video, I could care less what the Mongolian breed of Asian was thinking about. You understand what I'm saying? But it's almost the same thing with the Asian hate that they put on black people a few months ago. They kept saying that black people was being violent toward Asians, and you see what happened. The Asians got a law put in place. They're protected by a federal law, a hate crime law. And America won't even pass the law to outlaw black people being hung. They keep denying it in Congress. Do you see this? This is ridiculous, right? And they get money. You see what I'm saying? But when you do this, when we allow them to spew these negative scenarios, this is what happens. So I'm nipping this in the bud right now. And y'all make sure y'all share this video out. We can't allow these people to paint negative narratives about us as a whole just because we wish to claim our true identity that's been stolen from us. Are you kidding me? And they was used to do it? Come on now. It ain't that easy. No, not no more. But anyway, I'm going to turn this around and we're going to get back to it. But again, the person who they're finna highlight, we don't condone this person. He could go to sleep tonight and not wake up. I could care less. He seemed unstable and he need to be dealt with. You feel what I'm saying? So that ain't us. But again, they're using that example, that one example, to paint us all in a bad spot. Okay?
This supremacist mentality is so extreme with them that they are willing to stoop as low as putting children's pictures up and saying that they're...
Did y'all hear that? He says, black extremists. These people are extreme. They're toxic. You know? Those are dog whistles, people. They're signaling to white daddy that, hey, we need help with these black people. They're getting out of hand. They need to be put back in their place.
And making fun of these children, these innocent indigenous children, because they have no morals, they have no standards, and honestly, they would rather us all disappear. So let me just play that real quick for us, and we can discuss it as a group here.
That child is not Aboriginal. He is not black. Show his father. He is a Siberian Mongoloid mutt just like you, you dumb fat bitch. Please pause to read the rest. I'm gonna skip down to the end. I'll make your Siberian husband watch too while I choke you with my Gucci belt and hit that she from the back on 55th Street, Hoover. I'll come to your reservation and make a public show of it cause you a whole horse and pony act. Slide my long dong in your Chinese fat folds like a Cleveland Indians hot dog at a baseball game. I also receive I want to unalive you messages. Some are even in video form. And still I'll be an ally to the black community because I know he doesn't represent them all. And since he wants to be so fucking famous, he threatened to rape me.
And she's right. And I'm glad she said that she still will stand with the black community because he does not represent us all. He's just, he represents himself and he's more than likely mentally ill. Now, again, these people are not our allies. She's one individual who says she's staying with us, but most of these people, they don't. You understand what I'm saying? It's just a fantasy. Okay?
I will be going to authorities. You don't know me, but you will.
So this was really, this is really disturbing. And to single out someone's children, to single out their family, and say those type of toxic things.
And again, he's right. No one should ever do that. This guy needs to be prosecuted. You know what I'm saying? That's highly wrong, and I don't condone it, not one bit.
Simply because you're racist. You're racist against indigenous people is quite disturbing. And I want to get my panel involved here tonight. Thank you guys so much for being here. What do you guys think of this? When you first saw this, what do you think of this? Where do we go from here with that type of toxicity? Look, I want to say one thing clear, and I want you to be honest with me. When we talk about black supremacists, and this is literally a version of black supremacy, how do we dismantle this? How do we talk about this and tell our community, look, this is a clear and present danger? Go ahead.
Can I explain something about this gentleman really quick?
You heard that? He said this is a clear and present danger. He's dog whistling to the white community. Hey, these black people are out of control. We need help. You know what I'm saying? That's a dog whistle.
Sure.
Me and others have had experience with him in the past, and what it seems like is when people start to get visible in the fight against ethnocentric racism, this guy will come out and he'll start making threats and just saying traumatizing things, man. I mean,
and see, they're familiar with this guy. He apparently gets in these people's communications and goes crazy with them. But again, sounds like somebody who's mentally unstable. He does not represent Black Americans or the Aboriginal community. Okay.
I mean, this guy, you know, he made a lot of people just want to quit. I mean, the types of threats that he was giving us in the past. And I think what it is like they want to threaten you to the point where you don't want to show your face anymore. They're trying to silence us through violence. And that's what my opinion is on this guy and his tactics.
And you hear how he keeps saying they want to silence. We don't want to do nothing to y'all. We could care less about y'all. I haven't thought about any of you people. So that ain't us. That's that one individual. Okay? So y'all need to get it straight and keep it straight. But we know y'all afraid this knowledge is coming out and y'all losing what y'all think is y'all place. But you have to understand, we're Aboriginal Americans. You guys were given the title of Nation's First People or Native Americans in the 1970s and 80s. You understand what I'm saying? So let me let it play.
Absolutely. Anyone else have anything to say about that video?
Well, what I think of when I see that kind of response, let's say, to our defending of our own culture, what I see is a person with an inferiority complex, a person who can't stand the fact that we exist and we have culture and we have our values, we have our languages, we have our food, we have our history, we have our culture around corn, we have so much that represent who we are, and he doesn't. So we can show, we have something to show them. You know, we have all this stuff that we can show about ourselves. He doesn't have any of that. So he's like impotent. Like the only thing he can do is be violent, you know. It's a poor person.
He has a bit of an accent, so I don't know if y'all caught that. He said they have their heritage around corn. But did you know cornbread is an Aboriginal American dish? All of our food is Aboriginal food. They told us that those foods were slave food. You know what I'm saying? But no, those were Aboriginal dishes.
Who's with an inferiority complex, who thinks he's superior, and then he sees the people that he thinks are inferior, that we have so much to show, so much to give, and he doesn't have anything. It's just a poor individual.
I know, Sula, you may have dropped off and joined back up. I don't know. I wanted to give you space to talk about this a little bit as well.
I think it shows the amount of vitriol and vile that they have for women, that they're willing to go to this length and this type of disgusting behavior to try and prove their masculinity and their point. To drag a child into this, to drag her into this, and to try to...
And again, black people are not targeting Indians, especially Indian women. Now, the Indian men, as far as arrest records and police reports, high degree of violence toward their women. So don't put that on black people. You know what I'm saying? You ain't finna go there with us. That ain't us. I can't name 2 black people who even know where a reservation is. You know what I'm saying? And if he did, I'm sure if he had Indian people he hung out with, it was peaceful relationships. So y'all, we can't allow these people to paint these false narratives on us, okay?
Make yourself seem like such a powerful individual when you are so weak and cowardly. It's unfathomable to me. I really want to see this individual caught and prosecuted, because we have enough issues and enough problems with our missing and murdered Indigenous women in our communities right now, and we don't need this. And I think it's up to us as individuals to try and help find out who this person is, and to protect this individual and help her as much as possible, because after all the research I've done today, my brain was about to explode, because it's just this type of atmosphere over and over and over that I've seen today towards women, children, and people who don't agree with anything they have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think people often mistake this ethnocentric pseudo erasure as, oh, it's just silly, right? And, oh, it's just a game and it's silly and it's not that important to talk about. This is why American Indian Defense League exists. This type of, it's dangerous. This type of rhetoric is violent, and it's harassment, it's violent, frankly illegal, to be honest. Talking about you're going to do something to someone like that, you're going to kill somebody, etc. What they're doing is that they are expressing themselves, saying that they literally hate us.
And you hear how he's saying they're dangerous, they're violent. This, you know, no, it ain't they. It's that one individual. Again, we cannot allow these people to paint a negative scenario for us and us not be conscious of it. You understand what I'm saying? We don't lay down no more for these people. Nobody. You ain't finna be putting your mouth on us like that.
For simply being indigenous. What do you guys think?
Now, well, this is a behavior that.
I agree 100%.
Yes, this is the kind of behavior that can culminate into. It can start off as a threat, and then it'll build to a fantasy that he's doing this, and this, he's doing this, and this person is doing that to that person, and sooner or later he's going to act on it. Don't make no mistake, this is not a normal person. This is a criminal, and we need to be very, very aware of these kinds of people. This is the beauty of dealing with.
I echo that sentiment exactly. I'm sorry, my apologies. I echo that sentiment. You know, this is a person that will eventually act on these fantasies that he has, and frankly, as a Native woman who deals with, and you know, we have this whole issue of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, right? A comment like this, a threat like this, is not to ever be taken lightly. And if anything, see, you can respond in one of two ways. You can, you know, shrivel up and kind of, you know, go and to a corner and hide, or it can bring out even more fierce, you know, aggression or defense, right? And so, speaking for myself personally, when I saw this, it's just a vile, just a disgusting show of toxic masculinity and violence, and it only made.
Y'all hear that? Toxic masculinity. You know, that's one of them feminist words that they use when they want to paint a bullseye on somebody, when they want to get the media all worked up and, you know, degrade somebody and dehumanize them, make them think they're animals instead of humans. We have to watch out for these people. They're very slick. These are all white supremacist talking points.
Me want to fight even harder against this pseudo science, ethnocentric garbage, right? And unfortunately for him, he's going to end up coming across Indigenous men who are not going to stand for this kind of vitriol and this kind of garbage. And he's going to find himself in a really difficult situation.
This person here, Tim Asuna, says online threats are rarely seen as credible. They have to literally show up near your house for them to do anything. If any of you guys are legal hawks at all, I mean, when it comes to this type of harassment, is this something that we can take legal action? And I also want to address another thing. People are like, why isn't the media talking about this? This is vile. This should be all over the media. The media doesn't care about Indigenous people. The media does not highlight us because we are an inconvenience to their narrative. But I wanted to get your...
Well, he just mentioned something real important. He says, why don't the media highlight this? Well, I'm going to tell you, the media won't get involved in this because if they get involved with it, it's going to cause more people to discover their Black Aboriginal American identity. You understand what I'm saying? Of course, he don't know that because he honestly thinks that he's indigenous to this continent. He thinks his people are indigenous to this continent when they are foreigners. You know, they either have Asian ancestry or they come from some other area, you know, like Spain. You know, they're foreigners. But again, the white supremacists, the Europeans who has been stealing our very American identity, put those people in the history books as the nation's first people. So they actually think they are the nation's first people. They have no choice but to believe that because it's in the history books, and it's supported by the racist science of DNA. You know, they go out. They've gone a long ways to try to steal our identity. Okay, just wanted to point that out.
Your opinion on this, on both of those things, panel. First one, if they literally have to go to your house for the police to do anything, and second, why aren't more people talking about this? You know, as Russell Means says, where's our goddamn allies when it comes to this type of stuff? Where's our allies talking about this? Because it seems like we're the only ones amplifying this. And if it was another POC group, I guarantee you it would be all over the news. What's your guys' thoughts?
Well, let me just say something about 6 years ago, myself and another few other handful of natives, one is in the chat here, Augie, we were envisioning the ramifications of this movement 6 years ago and what were the potential things that could happen down the road. And we're seeing them all come to light 6 years later. We envisioned them somehow infiltrating the education system, and they're doing that now. They're trying to get these this history change to the point where they're trying to petition Ancestry.com to stop listing African Americans as African and list them as Aboriginals.
Now, that what he just mentioned is real important. There's a lady I follow. Her channel is called The American Heirist. And this lady has uncovered something very huge. On the website for Ancestry.com, they do something very slick as far as, you know, point out where the indigenous people are. So I want you all to go to American Heirist YouTube channel and follow her. I'm going to put her information in the description. And she also has made a petition against Ancestry.com to put the information on their website and to stop deceiving people. I'm going to tell you, what she discovered is huge. It is huge. And I also signed that petition as well. And once you go to her website and you see what I'm talking about, I want you all to do the same. Now, and she also found a few other things out about what I told you about a cornbread is an American Aboriginal dish. Matter of fact, black people have a strong relationship with corn, cornbread, grits. You know what I'm saying? So all of these things have been hidden from us, and it's all starting to come to light, and it's pissing these people off. These people are shaking in their boots because these are white supremacists. You know what I'm saying? They feel privileged to hold that title, and see, they have to understand something. When all of this information come out, you just fall in line, fall into your place, and your place is you know, that you're not indigenous to America. We're Aboriginal. We're indigenous to this place. You're welcome to be here. You know what I'm saying? But you just ain't fitting to be part of this hijack no more, this identity theft. You just got to be who you really are, a foreigner. You know what I'm saying? And be proud of that. You know, and not get in the way of reality and the facts, the true facts. Because racism, the system of racism is being destroyed, and it's being replaced with the system of freedom, justice, and equality. And there ain't no stopping that. You know what I'm saying? And there is no way to stop that. That thing it's like a big old steam ball going down a hill. You know what I'm saying? A freight train. Okay, so Just wanted to point that out.
We told Indian country time and time again that these people will get violent because we've been experiencing these type of threats and this type of.
So we're violent and we're threatening these people, right? All dog whistles to their white daddy saying, help us. These crazy black people are getting out of hand. They don't know their place.
Vile behavior for over 6-7 years now. And it's only going to get worse. It's these people who are making these claims.
These people, it's only going to get worse. Trying to dehumanize us. People, you got to know these tricks. That's why I'm spending my time in showing you this, okay?
Are actually now threatening, because we have it on tape, on video, of them threatening to come to our reservations. And eventually they are going to do it. Eventually they are going to come to our reservations, and they are going to have enough brass to think that they can do something. Because they're already coming to our event. They already came to Standing Rock. They already came.
Ain't nobody thinking about coming to nobody's reservation. These people are delusional. But that's not the point. They're making the loudest call out as they can, call dog whistles, to their white daddy to step in, to do something about these Negroes that are getting out of hand. I can't drill that point harder. I'm going to keep at it, people, because it's important.
So our powwows, they come to our events, and they spread their nonsense and their bullshit, and they hide. They're incognito. They're acting as their allies, or they're coming as spectators. I know this for a fact.
I'm going to pause this, right, because it's something I want y'all to see. Now, this person is more than likely a black person. You know what I'm saying? I want to say that because I read some of the comments that they made. It says, any of you American Indians or Amerindians have representatives to take y'all case to the Supreme Court of non-Native Americans, people taking your people identity, culture, and anything pertaining to American Indians. So this black guy who's probably African, or somebody who think he's African American, and he's on board with them saying that the black American is trying to steal the American Indians' identity. Y'all see how that works? You know what I'm saying? So, we as Aboriginal Americans, we fighting against everybody. we're fighting against the Mongolian breed of Asian. We're fighting against white supremacist people in Europe, from Europe. We're fighting against, Africans, Caribbeans peoples, and even black Americans who don't know who they truly are. But it's okay. I mean, we're up for the fight because all of the facts are on our side, okay?
3 years ago, they were at a powwow that myself and my daughter and her mom were dancing at. And I woke up the next morning and there was a photo post on Facebook of some guy posting all these pictures of the powwow, making fun of all the dancers dancing regalia. The guy had the nerve to stop dancers and take photos of them, photo ops where the dancers would stand and pose, and then he posts them all over Facebook laughing. Look at these Siberians, they're fake, they're wannabe, these $5 Indians, that they're coming to our event. So I can guarantee you this guy was at the powwow that I was at, was walking around acting like a tourist, or acting like he was a spectator, like he was interested in Indian country. But no, he had an agenda. I have gone head to head with these people that believe this nonsense, that have actually been on our reservations, who have actually done ceremony with our people. One guy in general, in particular, even was learning the Lakota language, and he even name dropped people who I know do ceremony. He spent time with them just to turn around and get on social media and call us fake drunk, wannabe meth heads, Siberian, Mongolian, rape babies, this and that. These people are infiltrating everywhere they can. They're in all of our indigenous Facebook groups, Native American Facebook groups. They're hiding in there. They're getting information. They're stealing our words, and then they're claiming the words are theirs. They're stealing our pictures. They're stealing our ideas. Then they're claiming it. They're writing books. They're in the government trying to get recognition, and now they're literally threatening us with violence.
Yeah.
But I've been telling Indian country for 6 years. I've been telling tribal members for 6 years. You better start talking to your tribal council about this. You better start talking to your tribal leaders about this. But nobody wants to listen to us. Nobody wants to listen. They all say this is a fringe group. It'll pass. It's not a fringe group anymore. This group is getting larger and larger and larger because entertainers, rappers, athletes are all buying into this shit, and they're spreading it all over their Instagram, spreading it all over their social media. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But
He's right. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and a lot of celebrities are doing their own genealogy and finding out the truth. And these people are afraid. They're scared. Well, they shake it in their boots because they can't stop it.
Telling you, Indian country, if you're listening out here and you're not spreading the word that this is happening, if you're not out here actively telling other natives, hey, have you heard about this movement? Hey, have you heard this thing? What are we doing about it? If we are not collectively working together to end this shit, because the African American community is not doing anything about it, okay? They've already made it clear they're not doing anything about it, as collectively. You have a few people here and there that debate, they stand up and stand, but collectively, they're sitting silent on this. So it's up to us to bring awareness to other natives, and if you're not doing anything about it, and you know about it, then you're part of the problem. All you natives out there that don't like what's going on and are sitting there silent, that aren't forwarding a post or forwarding a snapshot or screenshot, they're not letting your fellow brothers to know about it, shame on you for not stepping up. Shame on you for not warring up. You ain't a warrior. You're a hanger on the fort. Sell out.
I want to take an opportunity, because we have a bunch of new people that just came in, to play that video one more time, and I apologize for my panel, but I think it's important to emphasize what the context of the video for those that just joined here.
That child is not Aboriginal. He is not black. Show his father. He is a Siberian Mongoloid mutt just like you dumb fat bitch. Please pause to read the rest. I'm gonna skip down to the end. I'll make your Siberian husband watch too while I choke you with my Gucci belt and hit that she from the back on 55th Street, Hoover. I'll come to your reservation and make a public show of it, 'cause you a whole horse and pony act. Slide my long dong in your Chinese fat folds like a Cleveland Indians hot dog at a baseball game. I also receive I want to unalive you messages. Some are even in video form. And still I'll be an ally to the black community, because I know he doesn't represent them all. And since he wants to be so fucking famous, he threatened to rape me. I will be going to authorities. You don't know me, but you will.
So that's the context. So she received these messages over time, and what I want to emphasize is that people who think that this type of pseudo erasure of indigenous people is some.
And again, I want to reiterate, just as they showed that again, that we in the Aboriginal community do not condone this one person's actions. He's obviously got mental instabilities, and he needs to go to jail for physically threatening a little child and a woman. Period. We have zero tolerance for that kind of ignorance. Okay, zero tolerance. That's not what we're about. Okay, we're about spreading the truth of who we truly are. We are the only true Americans. I do teach. The information is in the description. Video information only for $49. Coaching and hand holding with the same video information for $199. Be a wise investment. You understand what I'm saying? Because you need to know pretty quick who you are. We are at war, have been at war since 1492. You know, when Christopher Columbus came here and started enslaving our people. Okay, so we're gonna finish watching the rest of this video. It ain't much left longer, and then we'll talk it a little bit at the end. Okay.
Type of fucking game. This tells you it's not a fucking game. This is serious. They literally found a picture of her child and posted it and said that they're going to rape the child's mother right on the chat there. I mean, what kind of morals do you have that type of thing? What kind of morals, what kind of values do you have when you post a picture of a child and say that thing to the child's mother? And where is our allies? Where's the media on this? Where are people talking about this? Because we're the only ones amplifying this message. And I'm frustrated, family. I'm frustrated, indigenous and allies, because it seems like we are the only ones that seem to give a shit about this type of stuff. Well, we have an epidemic of missing and murdered indigenous women in the United States, Canada, Mexico, Central.
You see how he's trying to put that missing women and children, Indian women, on black people? Black people ain't hardly concerned about Indians, the Mongolian breed of Asians. So they could just take that old crap back to where they got it coming from. But again, these are dog whistles to try to dehumanize the only true black Americans, the Aboriginal Americans. So please, my people, do not fall for these tricks, because everything he's saying is false. That is one person who is more than likely mentally ill. That does not represent us at all. You understand what I'm saying? And then the reason I'm expressing this is because when they were talking about that Asian hate, you had celebrities like Snoop Dogg, Sean King, that got on their platforms, the huge platforms, and made a plea. Black people, stop hurting Asians. And black people wasn't hurting no Asians. Those were a lot of staged events. You had two people with pink shirts on that were highly visible near cameras that attacked an Asian person. Single individuals. And then the rest of those people were white or other nationalities. You see what I'm saying? So that's what the media does. They create situations and then they draw the weak-minded people in. Snoop Dogg, Sean King, in those instances, were working for the system of racism, white supremacy at that time. Whether they knew it or not, they fell for the okie doke. White people were killing Asian people in huge numbers. You had guys going into the shop with automatic weapons and killing 9 and 6 of them at a time. You know what I'm saying? That ain't something black people was doing. But they put it on us just so that they could give these people protections and benefits. You see how that works? How did these people get federal protection for hate crimes and black people can't? We've been getting killed and murdered for years and we have no protection for hate crimes. People, think about this. This is what we are up against. Very important.
In South America, and no one is talking about it. This enables that type of mentality that our women are worth nothing. Our women are objects to throw away and use. This is what the mentality that this person has. And when you don't talk about it, you're enabling this to persist. As one of the panelists said, you are enabling this type of behavior. Now is the time to speak up and be heard.
Yeah, and if I may, I just want everybody that's in here right now in this comment section to understand that this has shifted from some meager little movement to definite extremism. Remember that it only takes one...
Okay, you heard her. She said this is moved from some small movement to extremism. Oh, so it's extreme for black people, black Americans, to know who they truly are. You see how frightened these people are? They so scared. They shaking in their boots. And they're saying, oh, white daddy, please help us. These black people are getting out of control.
One person, one psycho, pseudoscience, ethnocentric extremist to show up somewhere and do like irreparable damage to people. It only takes one. So everybody needs to be getting involved, spreading this, the information, debunking these people, challenging their argument. You know what I mean? This is not something to be taken lightly at all.
Yeah, and on my platform, I welcome any debates. Any one of you folks want to reach out to me and talk to me during a live debate? Let's put the facts out there. Y'all put out y'all facts and I put out my facts, and we let the people decide for themselves. See, that's something they don't realize it. That's going to work against them because their facts don't line up. I welcome it.
Let's not forget that a couple years ago, the Dallas shooter was an active member of the Moorish Americans, the uprising Moorish who do believe in it.
Did y'all hear that? Years ago, he mentioned somebody's name was part of a Moorish American group that caused some shootings without showing any facts.
The same type of pseudo nonsense. These people are violent. These people
hear that? These people are violent. No, we're not. If you got one idiot, then that's that one idiot.
Are a cult. They're a violent religious cult.
A violent religious cult. y'all got to be very careful about these people because this is what they do. They dehumanize us just so that they can kill us. The police will see us as violent people like they always do. They don't need much help in that arena. But here on this front, you know, because if we expose these fake indigenous people, then you know who else is exposed? The white Americans, because they are not true Americans. They're from Europe. It's simple. But it exposes the system of racism, white supremacy. And white supremacy works best when it's hidden or if it has a black face on it. And that frightens them. So, again, these people are blowing a real loud dog whistle to their white supremacist daddy for help.
That are not sane.
Yeah, they have a motto that's really disturbing. So Chief Janice and, you know, her followers, what they're, you know, because what she promotes is violence against the indigenous communities. And what she says is, we're going to go to the reservations and burn all the teepees down. They're literally threatening to go to reservations and kill people and burn the teepees down. That
this is my first time hearing about any of this nonsense. Ain't no black Aboriginal person has made no threats to do any of that as far as the group of Aboriginal. If any person, one person said that, then that is that one person. You understand what I'm saying? But they try to paint it as a whole. It's no different than the propaganda they've been putting on black people for years. You know what I'm saying? For years. That's what the system of white supremacy does. It paints a label on us just so that we are considered less than human. You understand what I'm saying?
You know, it's just a stupid remark. But nonetheless, you know, that's what they're saying. They're just saying the most racist, ignorant shit with their threats. And that's their motto.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's so many great comments coming in here. Go ahead.
If you're not speaking out on this, if you're not sharing this video, if you're not sharing a meme, or you're not sharing a TikTok video, if you're not sharing this to your family, to your friends, and you're an indigenous person, shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Stop being a simple simp.
Exactly.
I want to add that this shouldn't have got this far. 6-7 years ago, we've been at it, some of us, and it shouldn't have gotten this far. It's snowballed. And we've been trying to say something about it, and people ignored us. And the problem grew, and it grew, and it grew. And we're witnessing the evolution of their rhetoric, the evolution of their mindset, and the evolution of their arrogance. And it shouldn't have gotten this far. It should have been nipped in the bud a long time ago.
You know, a big problem with that is, you know, people saying, you know, throwing the word anti-black out there. You know, we can't even speak against this without being called anti-black. And what that does is it emboldens the opposition and it gives them the freedom to be as racist as they want because they feel that they can't be racist. The BIPOC community feels that they cannot be, that nobody that's, you know, that they cannot be racist because of their ancestry, which is, you know, so what it does is it just allows them to be more racist and be more violent and to give more threats because they're in their eyes and a lot of people's eyes, they can't do anything wrong.
Right. Because they're oppressed and because, you know, Black Lives Matter and because the cops are killing him in the streets and all that, and so our own people have bought into this, and they turn around and like I said, 6 years ago they were calling us, why are you being so anti-black? Why are you being racist?
All right, so I think y'all get the gist of that video. Of course, we ain't finna watch the whole video. I don't have that kind of time. But I think you've heard zaddy to get the idea that these people are blowing a pretty loud dog whistle to their white masters. White zaddy for help. You know, these black people are getting out of hand. They don't know their place. Oh, it's just out of control. They're evil cult. You know, they're violent. You know, they're dangerous. They're raping and killing our women. They're going to come to our reservations and burn down our teepees. It's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? But again, people, we can't take this stuff lightly, because they're trying to dehumanize us because we are exposing the truth. It is simply true that we are Aboriginal Americans. Okay? And in case you're new to this channel, I'll just go over it with you. You know what I'm saying? This is a 1 cent copper penny. It's a little shiny, but it's damn near identical to the color of the back of my hand. Okay? I'm going to show you a definition. And this is the definition of American in the year 1828. It says, American, a noun, a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals. That's the people from the dirt. We are not West African slaves. We are Aboriginal to this landmass. Or copper colored. That 1 cent copper penny, that's copper, okay? Found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. Now I'm gonna say that last part again. It says American, but now applied to the descendants, this person's children, the descendants of Europeans born in America. That's the identity theft. It says it right there in the definition from 1828. It tells you who you are. It describes you. And it tells you that the Europeans have been trying to steal your identity. That is a powerful definition. What makes that definition even more powerful is from the year 1828. This dictionary, it's the Webster's Noah's Dictionary, was printed before the system of racism, white supremacy kicked off. And that system kicked off, I think it was 1859. But let me double check that. Being that this book was already printed, the system of racism, white supremacy couldn't undo it. It was already printed. And I want to say that system kicked off in let me just Google it real quick. That way I have it in front of me. Anyway, Charles Darwin wrote a book about natural selection and the origin of the species. This book became real popular, real popular amongst the white-skinned Europeans, because here in America, there were both black and white Europeans operating on this continent, involved in slavery. You had black slave masters and everything. The continent of Europe, all black Aboriginal Europeans. But because of racism, we've been taught that Europe was an all-white continent. The only black people there were slaves. People, you can't make this stuff up. It's all in the documents. You just have to be taught to know how to look at them. You understand what I'm saying? And my computer is tripping. So, I don't think it's gonna let me do what I need to do. But anyway, so I basically showed you the definition from 1828 that it describes who you are. The system, before the system of racism, white supremacy here in America, you had European domination. And again, the Europeans were both black and white. There's a document that Benjamin Franklin in 1751 was real mad that England wanted to send a whole bunch of Germans here, call them Palatine Boers. He was mad because these Germans looked like you and I. He also explained or exposed the fact that in Europe, most of the Europeans looked like you and I. There was only a small percentage of white-skinned Europeans, the English, he said, and the Saxons. He said everybody else was black or brown. They used the word swarty or tawny, which means black or brown. You understand what I'm saying? And he also described the red man, which was here, us in America, were, here in America. He said that the red man was here in America. And the penny, by the definition of the color of the penny, is red and or brown. People, it's amazing that the stuff that's out here. That's why I teach. I mean, it took me a few years for this to come together. So what I've done is amassed the information that I received through video format, and I situated it in a certain order where when you watch it, it just flows. And because of the system of racism, white supremacy, there's a video you're going to watch before any or all of those videos that's going to prime your brain to receive this information. And that video is in the description of this video. It's by Dr. Francis Cresswell. Very powerful video. The reason I put it in all of my videos is because all black people need to understand the system of racism, white supremacy. Very important. And again, the other videos, again, are in certain orders, So it's $49 for the video information. It's well over 100 hours of videos, but it's easy to watch videos. And each one of them are not super, super, super long. Some of them are short. And then the $199 is the video information plus hand holding. We meet for 4 weeks. We'll meet by video conference 1 hour per week to go over the information and then talk about the next week's video coming up. So it's huge. And like I say, this information can't be stopped. We've been misdirected. We was told that black people here in America came from West Africa because of the transatlantic slave trade. And that information was given juice by certain things like the Roots movie by Alex Haley, which this guy was plagiarized. This guy plagiarized a white author who wrote a book called The African. He was successfully sued in court. He settled out of court, but he was successfully sued for it. So that tells you a lot. That tells you that he was on some bullshit, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it's just so much that you need to learn. And that's why I'm so passionate about this topic and subject. Again, if you haven't already, like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell and hit all so that you're notified when I go live or make another video. And again, this video is what you saw in here is for fair use. I'm leaning on fair use for educational purposes only. Okay, people? Now, I think I'm going to end this video because my computer is froze and I can't pull up the definition that I wanted to. But please, like I say, subscribe to the channel and go back and watch all my videos and share as much as you can, because I guarantee you, if you ask your oldest living relatives, and matter of fact, I challenge you to do that. I urge you to do this because I did it and I learned a whole lot. Now, you ask them all. You don't just ask one or two, because some of your relatives may still know something and some of them may not, which is what I found out in my family. But you ask them all. You know what I'm saying? You just strike up a little conversation with them, which, is going to be a little weird because sometimes black people don't really reach out to our family members like we probably need to. But this is a good way to reconnect with a lot of your family, and your loved ones. You just, you call them and you ease into it, because a lot of our people were hurt behind this. There was a thing back in 1942, Walter Pleckler, and it's called the Racial Integrity Act. Our people some of us was killed for claiming our Aboriginal indigenous identity as Indians. Did you know that? You understand what I'm saying? I know some of my family members were. And I didn't know this stuff growing up. I just found this out recently. And my grandmother, growing up, I looked at her and she looked like she might have been mixed with Indians, but I never said nothing, and she never mentioned it. You know, so, but I found out that she Blackfoot Indian, and my grandfather Sioux. I mean, she was Sioux Indian. My grandfather's Blackfoot Indian, and they look like black people. You know what I'm saying? My grandmama, she looked like she might have had a little mixture with the Mongolian Indians. She had the long black pretty hair, and her skin was just had a differentness to it, her skin color. You understand what I'm saying? But so I found all this out just by talking to my oldest living relative. You know, so it's very important that you do the same. Very important. Okay, and on that note, people, I'm going to feed you. I'm going to say good. Enjoy the rest of your day. Okay. Farewell. See you on the next video. Peace out.